Hi, my name's Jimbo Clark, and today we're going to be talking about how to think out of the box and how to think back into it. And I'm sure we've all heard the phrase "think out of the box." And right now, I'm thinking in the box. My brain is very boxed in at the moment. And when I'm thinking in the box, it changes how I see you and how you see me. It changes how I make decisions and my level of comfort. My name's Jimbo, and I still have a box on my head. I have an invisible thinking box. And this invisible thinking box changes how I see you and how you see me, and it changes how I make decisions and changes how much comfort I feel in life. So whether I have a physical box or an invisible thinking box, either way, I have a box on my head. And for the last 11 years, I've been taking this phrase, think out of the box, literally by putting boxes on and off thousands of people's heads. So I've had a chance to work with over 150, train up 150 facilitators, and we're working in 25 countries. And together we've unboxed more than 20,000 heads. And we've used the box around a lot of different topics and a lot of different ways. But then in 2020, this coronavirus came, and it was a little tough to get boxes into people's hands. So we found a way of getting some of the insights from thinking in and out of the box by just taking a piece of paper and a pencil and building a box. And so that's what we're going to do together here. So I'd like to invite you to get a blank piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and work along with me as we go through this process. So the first thing we're going to do today is I'm just going to have you draw on that piece of paper, just draw yourself a little box. Maybe something like this. And there's my little box. So on your piece of paper, draw a box. And that box, what does that box represent? Well, it's that think out of the box box. And for us, we focus on two things. That box, by thinking box, creates thinking shortcuts that provide both safety and success. And so if you think about it as the less thought intensive ways of making decisions to make sure that you stay alive and that you have a good life. Now, where does that box come from? Well, it comes from a lifetime of experiences. It comes from how we were brought up, where we're school, what country we are in, even maybe what languages you speak. And all of our past experiences come together to create a box. And that box protects us and it keeps us safe and it helps us succeed and it helps us understand. And so all in all, the box is pretty good. But sometimes you need to think out of the box, and people are very happy to remind you, you need to think out of the box. And so when do you need to think out of the box is the big question. And we say you need to think out of the box when you have some puzzling situation. Let me just explain real quickly what a puzzling situation is. So on your piece of paper, I'd like you just real quickly to draw a little target. So there's my target. You can see it's a beautiful target. That target represents your future goal, your future, the future outcome that you're interested in that's better than today. The easy one for me is I weigh 93 kilos. Maybe that future outcome is 87. And so I have this outcome that I'm looking for. The second part is going to be the heart. And so I want you to change that middle dot into a little heart. So that's how I did it, just so you can see there. Doesn't have to be pretty. That has to do with how much I care about that future goal. So that future goal, that future outcome exists outside of my box, my current thinking, and it's something I care about, something that I'm excited about, something I want. And then the third thing, and this is maybe a little bit challenging to draw, is to turn that into a puzzle. So what I do is I draw a little square around my target, and then I put some wavy lines over it. So now there you go. I've created for myself a heart target puzzle, something that I can't do yet. So that whole puzzle thing represents that there's some pieces missing. There's some competencies, some capabilities, some ways of thinking, some ways of behaving that either aren't I'm not able to do now or are not natural for me to do now. They're not a part of that unconscious thinking. And so we call this a puzzling situation, a future outcome that you really care about that you can't do yet. And so all of that means that it's kind of residing outside of our box, outside of our normal thinking. So just real quickly, I'd like you to think for yourself, what might be a puzzling situation that you want to think out of the box to solve? Where is your mind kind of causing you pressure? Where do you feel boxed in? And we're going to just do a quick exercise here. And it's going to go fast. So if it goes too fast, you can always push pause around how to think out of the box to find solutions that you can put into a better box. Before we do that, we're just going to find out a little bit about your own preferences in how you deal with these puzzling situations. So you have a puzzling situation in your mind, a place where you're feeling boxed in, a goal that you care about, but that you don't know how to get yet. And the question, I'm going to give you two approaches, a choice of two approaches. And as you think about your puzzling situation, which of these two approaches might you be more more natural for you to chase down, but more willing to try? And just choose one for each. So if it's on the left side, I'd like you to tick outside the box that you've drawn. And if it's on the right side, I'd like you to tick inside the box. So as you think about solving that puzzling situation, are you more likely to spend time generating more possibilities or spend time researching fewer and higher quality solutions? So if it's the blue side, the spend time generating more possibilities, make one tick on the outside of the box. And if it's the yellow side, the spend time researching fewer, higher quality solutions, make one tick on the inside. So which of these are going to be your more natural, more preferred way? All right, we're going to do this again. So we'll do this 5 times. As you think about solving puzzling situations, do you look to the big picture or do you dive into the details? So again, just put a tick either outside or inside the box. Big picture or details. Do you prefer ideas that call for major change or do you prefer ideas that provide incremental improvement? And again, just one tick. So now you should have 3 ticks. Just trust your intuition. Don't overthink it. And as you think about solving your puzzling situation, do you increase ideation to generate more possibilities or do you increase discipline to drive execution? Which of these are your preferred way of dealing with that? And then finally, number 5, as you think about solving your puzzling situation, are you more likely to take risks on ideas that might be game changers? Or are you going to play it safe with ideas that are more likely to succeed? All right. So now we've asked 5 simple questions. And the whole idea here is just to kind of see what is your natural preference when handling puzzling situations. So if you've got the 3 or more ticks on the out-of-the-box creativity side, or on the blue side, we would call that out-of-the-box creativity. And out-of-the-box creativity is all about coming up with new ideas. It's the let's go big or go home. It's looking outside of the way things are being done now to see if there's a better way to do it. And willing to let go of maybe what's kind of been working for us in the past or really worked for us in the past to get something better for the future. If you've got more ticks on the orange side, then that would be what we call in-the-box creativity. And yes, that is creative. To be in the box and find creative ways to do things in the box is a kind of creativity and a very necessary kind of creativity. And so this in-the-box creativity is going to look to the systems and to the structures and look to the resources that are available now. It's going to be looking to best practices in and out, in your networks. It's going to be trying to find ways to make things better on a day in, day out basis and to make sure that you have the plans and the resources to execute what is executable. And so these out of the box and in the box creativity styles kind of have some inherent tension in them. And what we would say is that each person has maybe one or the other that they're more comfortable or confident in. And if you are a person who had maybe a 4 or a 5 in one of those two sides, it could be that you're getting trapped out of the box or you're getting trapped in the box in terms of your creativity. And what we really want to do is we want to use all of our creativity. And so what does that mean? That means that we need to be able to diverge out and then converge in. So we diverge out to create choices and we converge in to make choices. creating choices, and making choices. And so we're going to help you learn how to do that by folding a little box here. So if you take your piece of paper that we already have, we've got our box and we've got our ticks on the box. We've got the goal that exists outside of the box, our puzzling situation. Now I'd like to invite you to fold that in half, folding that on the inside. So we've got 4 sides on the outside. And then make another half fold. Let's see how I did that. Folded that in half lengthwise, then folded that in half that way. And now you're going to make 1/4 fold to the center fold like this. And another 1/4 fold to the center fold like this. So hopefully you did get a piece of paper and you're really doing that. Otherwise, this is kind of boring. Okay. So what is this? This little box. This little box represents our boxed in thinking. It represents our thinking when we're unable to get what we want. And it's also going to represent our way out of our thinking and a way back into better thinking. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be consciously making adjustments to our unconscious thinking to help us improve our results. And to do that, we need to use a little creative process. So please open up your box. And on the inside, I would like you to write the words way out on the far left side, and then might on the center left, and could on the center right, and then will on the far right. So it looks a little bit like this. All right. So we're going to go through a 4-step creative process with that puzzling situation in mind. Now, we're not going to give you time to really think about this today, so you're just going to have to maybe pause it. So if we think about this box being closed and us being stuck in the box, then we want to think out of the box. How do we do that? Well, we talked about convergent and divergent. If we flip the box onto its side, suddenly this becomes that divergent convergent model. And what we want to do at the beginning is we want to go way out of the box. So the way out of the box is to go way out of the box. And so we're going to open up our mind and open up our box to any idea. So we're going to have some way out ideas. So as you think about your puzzling situation, you're going to write any idea down here. Don't evaluate, don't overthink it. If you run out of space here, you can go ahead and open this paper back up and add more. But I'm going to not give you any time. I'm going to ask you to, if you're really doing this, you can pause it. Otherwise, conceptually, you can kind of get the idea that this is where we would use brainstorming, silent writing, brain writing, any other creative technique is going to help you get way out of the box while thinking about that puzzling situation. The next step is going to be the might side. And here we want to choose and generate high impact ideas. The first one, we weren't thinking about impact. We were just thinking, like we're trying to think about not thinking. Here we want to start thinking about impact. And so you might look at your way out ideas and see if there are any of those that would actually be impactful. Don't think about feasibility yet. Feasibility comes later. We're still in the out of the box thoughts. And so taking some of those ideas that would have high impact if you could do them, put them here, and then continue with other high impact ideas that would really make a difference. And you give yourself a minute or two to do that. Now we're going to go to the next side, which is the could. Now we're starting to get into the box. So before was that out of the box, divergent creating solutions. Now we're starting the process to choose solutions, choose ideas. So now we're talking about the could. And so you're looking for feasibility. What do I mean by feasibility? These are things that have a high probability of at least being done. You know, and because a lot of those might ideas may have zero feasibility. It takes too much time, takes too much energy. And so we're looking for, from the might, are there any ideas in the might page that you could put over into the could page? To transfer those over and then continue to think, what else could you do? What are some other high probability, yet high impact ideas that you could try? And you put that on this thing. So we've gone from way out to might to could. And now's a good time just to kind of look at all these ideas and see what's coming up. See what you're looking, see where your energy is and what's starting to kind of grab your imagination a little bit because we're going to go to the next one. Of these, all of these ideas, what are the steps that you can take? What will you do? So we open the box by going, the way out of the box is by going way out. And the way to come back in is to will yourself back in. And we will ourselves back in by choosing some next steps. What can I do by when? And you don't have to solve the whole puzzling situation with this one answer. Just like when you're working on a puzzle, sometimes you just got to get one piece in. And from that one piece, you can get the next piece and the next piece. So the point here is to keep all of these ideas, because as you go through the process, you may come back to it later and say, oh, now I'm ready for that. But make sure that you get a piece of the puzzle into your puzzling situation. And that's coming here on the will side. Doing what by when. So way out, might, could, will. Now we've boxed this up and we need to think about how is that going to change things. And so we say change your box, change your world. When you change your thinking, you immediately give yourself more confidence, more relaxation, more better sleep maybe. And as you have better strategies on the inside of the box, then you will have better reactions on the outside of your box. And as that happens, then you change the world around you. So by changing my thinking, I can impact the world around me, make the world a little better place. So we're going to think about maybe predicting not the goal or the solution of the puzzling situation, but we're going to think about the process of getting there. And we want to predict what's going to happen on the outside so we know when we're kind of fulfilling that promise and when we're not. So if you make the changes on the inside, if you do what you say you will do, what's going to change? And so on the outside, I just like to invite you to label the four panels with do, say, feedback, and mirror. Just like that. Simple as simple, right? And we're just going to go through these one at a time. And on the far left panel, the question is do. If you really do what you say you will do, what new actions, what new behaviors are others going to see? Or what new actions and behaviors might you see yourself take? So what's going to change on the outside in terms of the actions and behaviors? And then on the center left panel, the question has to do with communication. Say, what new things would you say? If you really do what you say you will do, what new things will you find yourself saying in the future? And then the third one, the center right panel, is feedback. If you really make those changes on the inside, what feedback might you receive from others? How will the people around you see you differently and maybe talk to you differently? And then the fourth one is the far right panel, and that's the mirror. And that is when you look at yourself in the mirror, what would you see that's different? Or when you look at yourself in the mirror, how might you respond differently to what you see? So we've got these four manifestations of our new thinking. New actions, new ways of communicating, new feedback from others, and a new way of looking or perceiving ourselves. And in terms of creativity, what I want to get people to focus on is the new thinking and the process of doing, as opposed to the final solution of the puzzling situation. So often people sacrifice for the goal instead of finding ways to achieve the goal that are rewarding to them throughout the process. I just wanted to say thank you to World Creativity Day for inviting me to be a part of this, and hope that this has helped you to find a very creative way to think out of the box and back into a better box.